Gotcha. I'd like to call to order tonight's meeting of the Hammond Plan Commission for Tuesday, December 19th, 2023. Would you please rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Novak, could you call the roll, please?
Yes. Roger Brock. Dean Button.
Here.
Mike Dye.
Here.
And,
Roger's on.
oh, yeah, Roger's online. May be noted. Ann Herbert.
Here.
She's online as well. William Hutton.
Here.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Here.
Dan Spitali. Sharon Zaney.
Here.
Marcus Taylor.
Here.
8 present, 1 absent. We have a quorum.
And then there's 2 on Zoom.
Yes, and it may be noted 2 of them are on Zoom.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for August 21st, 2023. Commission members, you should have in your packet a copy of the draft meeting minutes for subject meeting. The chair would entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from August 21st, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner Dye, seconded by Commissioner Kazmierzak. It's been moved and properly seconded. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock. Roger Brock, was that a yes?
Yes.
Okay. Dean Button.
Yes.
Mike Dye.
Yes.
Ann Herbert.
Yes.
William Hutton.
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak.
Yes.
Dan Spitali. Sharon Zaney.
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
It's 8 A's, 1 absent. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next.
Mr. President, I want to make sure, Mr. Brock, that you're, on camera when you are making your motions and your votes. Just make sure that, please.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is item 4, old business.
There's no old business.
Thank you. Next item is item 5, new business. First action under new business is CP 23-9, a petition of the Hammond Plan Commission to review the amending declaratory resolution 2023-19 of the Hammond Redevelopment Commission regarding amending the Gateway redevelopment area, establishing the boundaries and allocation area of the River North sub-area expansion area, and to determine its conformity with the comprehensive land use plan. Mr. Poland, you'd like to address the commission at this time?
Yes, I just want to make sure that there is no objection that I am acting both as presenter and as reviewer in this case.
Any objection from the commissioners? Seeing no objection, please proceed, Mr. Poland.
Okay, and then also to note for the record that the notification requirements were met. It was just a legal notice and no individual notifications to the adjacent property owners.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm just going to make a few brief statements, and then I will turn this over to Mr. Bowditch, who will provide you more information about what this is. I just want to say that this is amending an existing redevelopment area called the Gateways redevelopment area that connects Indianapolis Boulevard to Kennedy Avenue to Calumet Avenue, and then it was amended to pick up what we call the Florida Avenue, the Parrish Avenue area. So it's quite an extensive redevelopment area. This sub-area expansion area is right at the interchange of Calumet and the Borman Expressway, the southwest quadrant of the interchange, and I'll let that be discussed further. Tonight at the Redevelopment Commission meeting, they took action that started the process for the declaratory resolution. The Plan Commission is the second step to determine the conformity of the plan with the comprehensive plan. The council is the third step, and then there is a confirmatory resolution by the redevelopment commission as the fourth step. So with that being said, I will turn it over to Mr. Bowditch.
Thank you, Mr. Boland. Good evening, Mr. Bowditch.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the commission. First, happy holidays. Thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening. As Brian stated, this is a plan presentation, a brief plan presentation of the 2023 amendment to the redevelopment plan for the Gateways redevelopment area, specific to the River North sub-area expansion area. The Redevelopment Commission previously this evening approved an amending declaratory resolution approving the sub area as a redevelopment area and to expand the Gateways redevelopment area, to approve the plan for the sub area expansion area, as well as reconfirm the Gateways redevelopment area and an expansion for the sub area. In addition to that, the amending declaratory resolution approved a provision for the area to be an allocation area for use of tax increment financing. I do want to give an overview of the redevelopment plan. Brian can fill in any other technical areas of the redevelopment plan or the process, or between the two of us we can do that. The area is generally located on River Drive or 177th Street in Hammond, Indiana. It is north of the Little Calumet River, east of Calumet Avenue, or west of Calumet Avenue, thank you, Brian, east of the River Drive 177th pinch point, which would be if you were to extend Jackson Street south. That would be the west portion, or east of that area, but the west side of it. And it is south of the I-80-94 corridor. It includes what is now the Little Calumet River pedestrian path and bike path. It consists of a total of 19.5 acres of land. There are 6 real property taxable properties that consist of 15.46 acres. And right-of-way is about a little over 4 acres, 4.04 acres. It is in Census Tract 216 of the city of Hammond, which has a population of 2,997 individuals. However, this redevelopment expansion area has 0 population. It is previously known as where the Hammond Botanical Gardens used to be years ago. There is really only one primary structure within the area. It's used for seasonal holiday purposes, as well as there is one small parcel that has a billboard located on it. It's 1/10 of an acre. And there is a property owned by the Redevelopment Commission for which there is a cell tower that is 0.21 acres. That's all within the 15-acre area. The Redevelopment Commission's land development plan is consistent with the existing zoning at this point in time, which is C1, local commercial district, which includes small-scale commercial uses adjacent to a residential area, which is adjacent to the west. There is a residential area in the city of Hammond that you do access that area off of 177th Street and River Drive. The intent may be for a potential future zoning change if the opportunity arises to the city or the Redevelopment Commission or Economic Development Department for a C4 general commercial district for larger sites and buildings that are highway related of a limited access function. Being that it is the southwest quadrant of the Calumet Avenue interchange and the first interchange from Illinois to Indiana, that C4 would most likely be the best approach. However, that is up to the Plan Commission to make that decision. The land use plan also does consider the potential for a coordinated or unified commercial development opportunity, meaning that if there is a mixed use of some commercial type, that would be presented to the Redevelopment Commission at that time. The area is described and does meet the finding of facts for an area needing redevelopment, meaning it does meet the criteria for lack of development, cessation of growth, character of occupancy, age of structures, obsolescence of land uses, substandard building or buildings, or other factors that impact development, meaning vacant land. A primary portion of the area is vacant, unused, and has been for years. The appendices to the plan itself are three. You have an Appendix A, B, and C. A is the project budget. It is anticipated that the public investment through the Redevelopment Commission or the city is estimated to be about $5.5 million. That would include public improvements to River Drive, infrastructure, water, sanitary sewer, new right-of-way, reconstruction of the road, which would extend to 177th Street. The estimate based upon the acreage of private investment is about anywhere from $40 to $70 million. In the plan, it estimates about $55 million of private investment. That is a public leverage of every public dollar would generate about $7.30 of private investment. There are three parcels in Appendix A that are identified on the acquisition list. That is 12.5 acres. The estimated appraisal cost or market value of those properties is a little over $2 million. I believe it was $2,050,000 of acquisition costs by the Redevelopment Commission, which are included in the project budget itself for public investment. Lastly, Appendix C is a list of the parcels in the area. That list includes the parcels in the block for taxation purposes. There are 6 total. Again, and that list describes the legal description of the property, the amount of acreage, as well as the net assessed value and the taxes that are currently paid in 2023 on the property. One thing before I end, the net assessed value of the property as of January 1st, 2022 is $2,025,900. That property generates $74,549.06 in tax. As you can see, it's other interchange quadrants, such as where Cabela's is located, at Kennedy Avenue, Indianapolis Boulevard. The highest and best use at that quadrant has not been met, and there's an opportunity for redevelopment based upon proposals submitted to the city, the Redevelopment Commission, the Mayor's Office of Economic Development, or the Plan Commission, and working together. I have worked, full disclosure, I have worked with Brian on the redevelopment plan to ensure its compliance with official documents and plans of the city. He can expound on that further, but it is statutorily required that that once the Redevelopment Commission makes a declaratory resolution and approves that it's then sent to the Plan Commission for its approval of the resolution as within and in compliance with the comprehensive plans or official planning documents of the city. Once the Plan Commission takes action, it will then, assuming it's approved, upon consideration, it would be sent to the council. The city's common council will then act to approve the Plan Commission's action, at which time it then goes back to the Redevelopment Commission for a public hearing. Notices will be sent to property owners within the area, and notice will be put in the paper. Once the public hearing is considered, then a confirmatory resolution will be considered. All that confirmatory resolution does is state that all the actions necessary by statute were met, and the area is formally determined to be an expansion area of the Gateways redevelopment area. That in a nutshell is it. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer those.
Questions from the commission to Mr. Bowditch? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Bowditch. I appreciate your presentation.
You're welcome, and I will turn it over to Brian.
Mr. Poland, is there anything you'd like to add at this point?
Nothing further under my role as presenter.
Thank you. At this point in time, we would open it up for a public hearing. So if there's anyone in the audience wishing to address the commission, to make a comment in favor of the action, please step forward. Councilman Emerson, wonderful to see you here tonight. Happy holidays to you, sir.
Thank you. It takes me back to I don't know how many years ago, but I was on the Planning Commission, and we had interesting times. But as you may know, the 4th District is predominantly homes, and I deal with all the neighborhoods, homes, and I may also point out that I was somewhat, I wouldn't say jealous, but I saw this development going on in the 5th District around Walmart, and simply I had no place to put any development. However, with this development, I'm very happy to say that it's just wonderful, because I deal with a lot of neighborhoods, and right now the idea of this project at some point being complete, not to mention the train, but this is really exciting. So for me personally, it's very exciting, because I would say, boy, I just wish we could develop something, and lo and behold, that there's an area to do that. So I'm very happy about it, and would like to see. The joke I have with Councilman Warple was, he stocked the pond at Dowling Park, and I said, well, the only thing I have is the Little Calumet River, and if I stock that, they're going to swim to Illinois. So anyway, thank you, and I'm very supporting of this project, whatever it turns out to be. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind comments, Councilman Emerson. I appreciate it. Anyone else in the audience wishing to speak in favor of the petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the petition? Anyone to make a general comment? Anyone on Zoom wishing to make a comment on the petition? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll turn it over to, I'll ask the petitioner first if they have anything to add at this point. Thank you very much. Then I would ask Mr. Poland to represent his position as staff.
Staff, yes.
To give a presentation. Thank you, Mr. Poland.
It's kind of hard to keep which hat is on at one point in time. So just to kind of give the Planning Commission, I think, just a primer on some of the basics of this, is that once we create a redevelopment district or a redevelopment area and we have a development that is proposed, the planning department staff is the one that is actually reviewing the project with all the adjacent or the allied agent departments that we have for all the technical aspects of it. And it does go to the Redevelopment Commission under what we call the procedure, the determination of compliance. And it's a very simple, important action that the Redevelopment Commission takes from a broad-based level, from a 2,000-foot level of trying to understand is like, are the general development aspects in compliance with what is in the plan? So what is in the plan, important, that is what we're using, is there's these land use provisions, there are some general design guidelines and recommendations, and those that we that help guide that development. What's a little different in this plan that I don't recall that we've ever done this before is the Redevelopment Commission recommending this property to be rezoned to C4 as an opportunity for that development. That type of recommendation typically is a Plan Commission recommendation through the comprehensive plan. And so I'm going to go off on a tangent real quickly that I think it would behoove us to start making that request that the Plan Commission should take on the responsibility to update the comprehensive plan. The primary document dates from 1992. The two significant amendments are 2001 and 2003, and that only covers 2 of the 6 planning districts. So it is very important that we start talking about that, and I'm asking for basically the money to do it. So just kind of think about that. That's my commercial. As far as the staff report's concerned, there are a structure of motions that I have recommended. There's some language in what is in the section called the analysis and the findings of fact. There's some statutory language in there that is being declared that the land use is in the general design guidelines are, pursue the objectives of the comprehensive plan. And there are others that go through A through F. So this is laid out in such a way that, and you look at the motions, that first of all, your first motion, or the first motion has its 4 parts. I think we can probably do it as one motion, but a very compound motion. You're making the statement that make a determination that the redevelopment plan for the River North sub-area expansion area of the Gateways redevelopment area is in conformity with the 1992 comprehensive plan. So that is the primary thing that this commission is doing. Second, this motion is that you are adopting the report as its findings of fact, and that's why I referred to the A through G items. That's the important core of that findings of fact. And then the third part is adopt the Plan Commission Resolution 2023-01. That is also in your packet, where we have a resolution that basically memorializes all the actions that we are doing tonight. And then 4 is determining that both this report, the findings of this report as its findings of fact, and the PC resolution constitute the Plan Commission's written order. That is statutory language that we make a written order for compliance with the official plans of the City of Hammond, in accordance with the statutory citation there. So that would be your first motion.
And the second motion would be?
That the staff that the second motion is that you are going to forward the Plan Commission's written order and the proposed council resolution to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
Does that end your presentation?
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's my presentation.
Questions for Mr. Poland? May I ask, and I may have missed that you had said this earlier, you talked about the potential of taking the sub-area and converting its zoning from what it is now to C4. Did you tell us what it is now?
It's combination of C1 and S1.
Thank you.
So what we really mean is the C1 portions. We go to C4. At such point in time, we have a proposed development. It goes through the determination compliance process. That would be the time where we'd be identifying or recommending to the developer to go through the rezoning action. So, theoretically, we could preemptively do that and do it now, but we usually do that when it is, we have a real project to look at.
And changing the zoning earlier wouldn't impact the existing uses contained within the existing properties?
No, not those particular uses. No, there would be no nonconformity issues that would arise. No.
Thank you. Other questions? Thank you, Mr. Poland. Hearing nothing further, the chair would certainly entertain a motion to make a determination that the redevelopment plan for the River North sub-area expansion area of the Gateways redevelopment area is in conformity with the 1992 comprehensive plan. 2, adopt this report as a finding of fact. 3, adopt the Plan Commission Resolution 2023-1. And 4, determine that both this report as its finding of fact, and the Plan Commission Resolution 2023-01 constitutes the Plan Commission's written order for compliance with the official plans of the City of Hammond in accordance with Indiana Code 36-7-14-16A. Chair would entertain a motion for approval.
So moved.
It's been moved and properly seconded to approve the motion as stated. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Mike Dye,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
yes,
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
yes,
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
It's 9 ayes, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. And the chair would also entertain a motion to forward to the Plan Commission the written order and the proposed council resolution to the Common Council with a favorable recommendation.
President, motion to approve? Second that motion.
It's been moved by Commissioner Dye and seconded by Commissioner Hutton of the second motion. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, you did say that we're forwarding it to the Common Council, right?
Forwarding to the Common Council
Okay,
with a
I thought you
favorable
said
recommendation.
Forwarding to the Plan Commission, I was like, oh, that's us.
Beg your pardon. We're forwarding the Plan Commission's written order to the Common Council,
Okay.
along with the proposed council resolution. Your motions still stand as stated. Thank you. Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock,
Yes.
Dean Button,
Yes.
Mike Dye,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
yes,
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali,
Yes.
Sharon Zaney,
yes,
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
That's 9 ayes, motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, and thank you for your help, Mr. Bowditch and Mr. Poland, for getting that to the finish line for us.
Thank you very much on behalf of the Redevelopment Commission. And again, if there's any questions, please never hesitate to reach out and ask any questions.
Thank you.
For all your help. Brian was very helpful in preparing the plan. So,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Everson, thank you for your support, too.
oh, you're welcome. And everybody have a happy holidays.
You too.
Of course, you too.
Thank you, Mr.
Ready to move forward, Mr. Poland?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is CP 23-10, petition of the Hammond Plan Commission to amend the text of the zoning ordinance 8514, also known as the zoning ordinance, for purposes of amending various titles to incorporate provisions for the definition and regulation of event space. Mr. Novak, I would like to ask if the public notifications have been met.
My understanding, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Poland, I assume that you have a request of us.
I have a request that there's no objection to me acting both as presenter and reviewer.
Is there anyone from the commission objecting to Mr. Poland's acting as both the petitioner and the staff? Hearing none, please proceed, Mr. Poland.
Okay, before you is a proposed text amendment to the zoning ordinance. The specific topic is what is referred to and defined as event spaces. Currently in our zoning ordinance, we have been handling these types of uses as places of assembly. And we've had several recently that have come through the Board of Zoning Appeals because they are conditional uses. We've had a couple that became problematic, and so that has raised some concerns that need to be addressed. Planning staff has been in discussion with the law department regarding not only the zoning provisions, but also the business license provision so that we can improve how these event spaces, as they are now being called, are handled and processed through all the different appropriate departments to make sure that some concerns are addressed. So there probably will be separate ordinances amending the event space. That doesn't really come to it's not a plan commission matter, it's more of a city council matter. But we want this language for the event spaces to be in concert with that, and therefore, the BZA will still continue its role that it has been. It's just we're changing the term to event space, providing the definitions. We are not eliminating the term place of assembly. And because I'm sure there are things that we can't even think of as to what a place of assembly could be. In the text, just to pull up again, there's two types of event spaces that is being created. So it's the event space general facility, which is pretty much anytime you want to have a relatively large group of people to get together for, a wedding, a party of some kind, meetings, any of those types of things that would, require, or, people want to have a bunch of people getting together. Both definitions, and I'll explain the other one in a second, exclude a place of worship, because that is called out separately in the ordinance, and it has other implications under the it's the RLUIPA law, but I don't remember what RLUIPA stands for, but just how you handle places of worship. And the uses that it's prohibited is 19.80, and that is sexually oriented businesses. So we don't want to have any of those uses sneaking in through another avenue. Event space limited. The important distinction is it's pretty much an event space, but it's limited by the amount of, or the portion of the building that it's occurring in, and that the building may have another purpose. So let's, randomly, let's just say someone has a flower shop and they have a back room that they want to have 8 people come in for a meeting to discuss flower arrangements. That would be something that would not be a regular part of their retail business. It would be an event that they're having a gathering, and that there's a variety of things that could be. But so the event space is a secondary portion of it, not the primary portion of it. And so the definition is that it's less than 50% of the area of the primary use, and it's limited to one event a week. So when it comes to where in the zoning ordinance those two things show up, the major difference is in the C1 local districts, which are usually smaller commercial properties, which are typically in the residential neighborhoods. The only possible type of event space that can occur there is the limited version. So that allows us to control the impact, the parking by cars, by number of people. So that's the whole purpose of that. In all of the 3 other commercial zoning districts, you can have either. Can't have both, but you can have either. You can either have a limited one or you can have the general one. So we're also amending the section Title 19, and Title 19 is the place where we put a lot of these detailed zoning provisions for individual subjects. So we can get into that meat of what's going to be allowed. These are the items that the Board of Zoning Appeals are going to be looking at in detail to know whether or not this is an appropriate use. A lot of it is that event spaces, obviously occasionally will have food of some kind. As long as they follow the Lake County Health Department rules, we're good. If they have liquor, as long as they follow the rules of the ATC, we're happy with it. The number of restrooms have to be in accordance with the building code. As a tangential comment, one of the recent ones that we had problems, I think there was an issue that there were not adequate restrooms in that facility, and that became another one of the code violations that was happening. Music and entertainment. One of the things that we're trying to make very clear here is that this is not, for lack of a better term, a concert hall. An event space is not a concert hall where you have a large number of people that, you're listening to AC/DC live presentation, or I don't even know if the AC/DC still exists. So, but nonetheless, but if a wedding reception has music, that's secondary. But the wedding reception is the primary event space use. Obviously with that, you can't violate the noise ordinances, and that they must close at midnight, 12 a.m. The parking portion of this really had a lot of discussion back and forth with the attorneys about the parking, because that seemed to be also one of the problems with one of our recently approved event spaces. So typically, when you have parking ratios, you base it on, whether it's the number of people, the occupancy, the number of seats, and then you have a ratio of, there's 100 seats, so then you want to have one parking space for every X number of seats. That's a typical way of looking at most ratios. So we still have that as one of the ratios, but the other possibility of how you determine other parking is one of the things we also had on one of our recent event spaces through the BZA, is that we know that there's only 10 parking spaces on this property, no possibility of ever getting any more parking because of the size of the property or whatever. And so we said that, okay, you can have 10 times 3 as your maximum number of people. And unfortunately in this one case, that didn't quite work out because they were parking all over the neighborhood, and they were creating all sorts of issues. So their actual number of people there kept on exceeding 57 or whatever we had agreed
47.
to. 47? Okay, all right. The parking ratio for the event space limited became just as tricky because, again, in the C1, you have smaller lots, even smaller parcels, and even smaller parking lots. And so with the example I gave you of the flower shop, if that flower shop has only 4 parking spaces and he or she wants to have whatever, flower making 101, it's 1.5 times the number of spaces that exist. So there could be 6 people at this event. So that's why we wanted to control the impacts, especially in the C1 in the residential areas. With that being said, they're going to the BZA anyway for conditional use. If there is some unique circumstance about the property that they may need to do a developmental variance to change the ratios, we'll look at that on a case-by-case basis. And basically, the last section that's mentioned is it's making that correction in the language up in the parking section. So that is the official presentation of the text amendment.
Questions for Mr. Pullen from the commission?
I do.
Mr. Hutton?
Thank you. Back to the 10 parking spaces, 3 people per parking space determines a 30-person occupancy of that area, that building. Is that correct? Is that what we heard?
That's what we're currently doing, yes, and so we're keeping that. Actually, the current ratio is 30% of the occupancy. So if you had occupancy 100 people, you'd have 30% of that. That would determine your parking. But it's just going to 33.
What if the size of the room was only capable to handle 20 people? How do we monitor, govern that?
Again, all of this is going to the BZA. So
Okay.
every time we do, yes, Mr. Hudson, it's all
Thank
going
you.
to the BZA. So every time we look at that, we will look at the fire department will be asked on the occupancy. Those factors we're going to play out. You got to have a ratio to start with, and then when you apply it based on the circumstances, we'll see how it gets adjusted.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. Any other questions for Mr. Poland?
Mr. President,
Commissioner Kazmierzak.
can I just ask, what is authorized parking within 300 feet of the main entrance?
Okay,
What does that
that is a reference to something that's already in the zoning ordinance that, traditionally you think of that all parking should be provided on property. It's not practical in every situation. The ordinance already allows that if there is an adjacent property that has a parking lot and it's within 300 feet of the entrance of the building, if there is a lease that this business can legally use a portion of that lot, then we can count those spaces.
Okay.
It's kind of, hopefully it's a situation where the hours of operation are different because we don't want that other person being deficient in parking because this second person is taking their parking spaces. So I know it's been used in all the years I've been here. I just can't tell you an example off the top of my head.
So it would basically be like an agreement with another business
Yeah.
saying you can use our lot type of deal.
Yeah, and it's very important that there's a binding agreement because that, just because, actually, to be honest, in this one situation that I was referencing, there was a business across the street that had a parking lot that was underutilized for their purposes. And the petitioner did contact them, but they said no because of the liability of allowing other people to park on their lot or other business reasons why they chose not to. So I can't say it's used a lot, but this is clearly a case that they explored it and it didn't work.
Thank you, Commissioner Kazmierzak. Thank you, Mr. Poland. Any other questions for Mr. Poland? Hearing none, I'll open up for public meeting. So now we're going to have a public hearing, regarding the petition. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to speak in favor of this petition? Anyone wishing to speak in opposition of this petition? Anyone wishing to make a comment on this petition, or is there anyone online wishing to address the commission on this petition? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you. No further comment from you as petitioner, Mr. Poland?
No further comments.
Thank you. Then I guess it's time for the staff report, Mr. Poland.
Yes, the staff report is that the staff has reviewed various zoning ordinance from other communities which assisted in the development of these provisions. Staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the text amendment for event spaces and send the ordinance to the City Council with a favorable recommendation. If the Planning Commission agrees with the recommendation, staff requests that this report be adopted by the Planning Commission as findings of fact.
Questions for Mr. Poland? Hearing none, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the text amendment to add event spaces and send the ordinance to the City Council with a favorable recommendation.
President, motion to approve?
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Dye.
Second that motion.
Seconded by Commissioner Taylor. It's been moved and properly seconded on the motion, and the chair, would we get is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion. Bless you, Mr. Novak.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Roger Brock.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, we lost him.
Oh, yeah, maybe noted Roger Brock was lost. He was on Zoom. Dean Button,
Yes.
Mike Dye,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali, Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
8 ayes, 1 absent, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. The chair would also entertain a motion to accept the report as a finding of fact.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Kazmierzak. That was Mr. Commissioner Dye as a second. Is there any discussion on the motion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Roll call on the motion.
Roger Brock, Dean Button,
Yes.
Mike Dye,
Yes.
Ann Herbert,
Yes.
William Hutton,
Yes.
Thomas Kazmierzak,
Yes.
Dan Spitali, Sharon Zaney,
Yes.
Marcus Taylor.
Yes.
8 ayes, 1 absent, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Thank you, Mr. Poland. Congratulations.
Yes, thank you. If I could just ask Councilman Spitali, I do need an official sponsor for the ordinance. Okay, all right, thank you. And then I did ask Councilman Emerson, just in case.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilman Spitali, for carrying the water for us. Is there any other new business?
No new business.
Thank you. Item 6, correspondence.
No correspondence.
Thank you. Item 7, commissioners' comments.
Mr. President, I'd like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year.
Thank you, Commissioner Dye.
With all of
Resounding yes. Item 8 is staff comments.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out to the commission that the 2024 meeting schedule is in your packet. Other than the standard changes of January and February to Tuesday, and the unknown standard changes of November and December for changing from Monday to Tuesday, as we have done tonight, the Plan Commission meeting stays on the third Monday of the month at 6 o'clock.
And those are contained in your packet.
Yes.
Is that all, Mr. Poland? Regarding
Since Mr.
staff
Dye
comments?
beat me to it, I think, yes, happy holidays to everybody.
Thank you,
Merry
Mr.
Christmas.
Poland. Now's the time for public comment. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the Plan Commission? Councilman Emerson, love to see you here, sir.
I would add, in the 4th District, and I'm not saying what this project will be, we have actually 3 restaurants in the whole 4th District: Madvex, White Castle, and the Philly cheese
Frankie's.
steak.
Yeah.
Oh, and Frankie's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Frankie's. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Novak.
Is MJ's Polish Deli?
Pardon?
MJ's Polish Deli?
forget it, man.
It's
Debatable.
you can go in there and eat, but
Oh, sit down.
technically, yeah,
Sit
yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say that, and then happy holidays to everybody, whatever you choose to celebrate. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Yeah, Bill.
Any other public comment? Hearing none, the chair also wishes you happy holidays, and the chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Councilman Spitali beat you to it, so motion by Commissioner Dye, Councilman Spitali. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, all opposed? Motion carries. We're